Okay, well, right now I'm on hold with Congressman Lipinski's office in Washington, D.C. I called his office locally, and I was referred to Washington, D.C. I have called to ask a simple question to find out who has authority over who is constitutionally authorized to run for the office of president. So far, this is my second phone call, and I still cannot get an answer. I'm on hold right now, waiting for the secretary in Lipinski's office to give me an answer. And so far, I cannot get an answer. So I'm sitting here on hold. I've been on the phone 5 minutes now. It's 11:49 on Monday the 9th, and I'm trying to get some answers from my government about how my government works, but I'm not getting very far. So we're going to be on hold here for a little while, and I guess we're going to see if I can get an answer. This person has decided to go get another staffer to try to get me an answer, and apparently they're scrambling around to try to get that answer. Let's see. Now that's 6.5 minutes. 7 minutes. So now we are at 8.5 minutes. I think I'll have to cap this off at 10 minutes. I betting they're not getting back to me. We'll try this again. I'll stop at 10 minutes and then place the call again.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sorry for the long hold. But the only thing that I can do right now is get your contact information, and we will forward your request to CRS, and then we will get back to you shortly. Is that okay?
Okay. So you're telling me. So what you're telling me is, you work in the office of Congressman Lipinski, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you're an aide or a staffer, something along that lines? Correct. Okay. Now you work. So you're in the first echelon of government. I mean, you're right there in it, and you're working in government. I'm a citizen asking a procedural question, and you're telling me you yourself cannot answer the question of procedurally how does someone become authorized to run for the office of president. You can't tell me what body. I mean, if you have a transportation issue, you go to the Department of Transportation, right? I mean, if you have a food safety issue, you go to the FDA, right? I mean, if you have an interstate criminal issue, you talk to the FBI. And you're telling me you as a staff member, a congressional staff member, can't answer the question of how a person is authorized to even run for the office of president?
I do know, sir. In regards to the birth certificate, I was going to redirect you to CRS so they could verify the information to you. So if I could just get your name and contact information.
CRS is what you said?
Congressional Research Service.
Congressional Research Service. Okay. So really, we got to put a research team on this. Okay, well, my name is Michael Hazelwood.
Correct. Can I get your home address, sir? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like. I mean, this is. It's amazing to me that you can't answer this question. I mean, can you tell me? Thank you
very much for calling, sir. And we will get back to you shortly. Have a good day.
You too. Could I have your name again, sir?
Yeah, it's Frank.
Frank from Congressman Lipinski's office.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, I am trying to understand. As a citizen, what body, organization, legal authority, group, whatever verbiage you want to use, I'm trying to understand what body has bearing or authority over the electoral process in which the candidates for office of president are authorized as natural-born citizens. There seems to be a lot of confusion. I'm trying to understand what body or organization approves a candidate as being constitutionally authorized to run for the office of president. Can you help me? Can you help me with that?
So the answer to that question, sir, is there isn't one. So there isn't a federal body or anything like that will certify people. Basically, the understanding has been that the United States assumes that if somebody wants to run for president, that they are eligible to do so, and that is the case until somebody decides to challenge that they are eligible to do so. And if somebody challenges that, then the burden of proof basically lies with that person. And then at that point, so for instance, if somebody had reason to believe that somebody who was running for president was not or should not be eligible for, one of the reasons they somehow violate one of the requirements, such as maybe somebody who's 33 years old, you have to be 35 to run for president, and somebody says, well, this person's actually 33, so they're not eligible. What that person would do is if they have reasonable and good evidence that the person running for president was 33 years old, then they would basically have to bring it to the courts, and federal courts would determine whether or not that the claim was correct or incorrect, and then if they determine it to be so, there would probably be, either way, there would probably be a series of appeals to higher courts until finally, there would be a court that would decide that the person is eligible or not to run.
And the
short answer to your question is there is not a body, and the onus is on the person who claims that the person should not be eligible.
Okay, and so is the burden of proof on the party making the allegation, or is the burden of proof on the party that is defending themselves against the allegation?
The burden of proof is on the party making the allegations.
Okay, and what procedurally, what court should be approached for that matter? Excuse me.
It would start at probably any low-level circuit court. And I mean, there have been people, for instance, that have tried to bring it to U.S. courts of appeals, and I think that's where these start in general.
U.S. Court of Appeal. Doesn't there have to be a ruling to appeal to go to the appellate court?
What I've read on it is that these. Okay.
I mean, so what you're telling me? So what you're telling me is, if I want to run for president, okay, all I just have to do is declare I'm running for president. I do not have to provide any documentation that I am qualified to run for the office of president. Until somebody disputes that and is willing to file a federal lawsuit.
Yes.
Wow. Do you, in your opinion, does that sound sensible and reasonable to you?
My opinion doesn't matter in this conversation, sir.
Excuse me?
My opinion doesn't matter in this conversation. My personal opinions, I'm not allowed to talk about them while I'm working for the congressman.
Okay, I understand. I understand that. So basically, you're telling me we could really put anybody in office could seriously actually be unqualified unless somebody challenges this.
Well, they would have to. The person would have to be elected.
They would have to be elected
Yes.
in order to accomplish.
You're saying. If you're saying that any person can become president. Well, I mean, they still have to go through the entire election process.
I understand that. They would have to be elected. I understand that.
But yes, I mean, unless somebody challenges somebody's eligibility, we basically assume that people are eligible.
I see. So Wow, that's interesting. So it's actually harder to get a job in average middle America than it is to become the president. I mean, to get a job in any financial institution, you have to pretty much always get a background check, as well as drug testing, and in some cases, testing for psychological fitness. And none of this in any way applies to the office of president or Congress. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, the checks are included in the election process.
Okay, and where are the how would I find out about that check system then? Where is there a
what I'm saying is that that is essentially the election process. Is if the United States citizenry electorate thinks that a person is fit enough to become president and elects them thus, then I'm sure that people are going to if somebody does not seem mentally stable or something like that, then that comes out. There's a lot of digging that the press does and everybody else does and opposing parties do into the pasts of anybody who would run for president.
Wow, that's an interesting. This is. I will make this statement to you. I will tell you that this is a process that is rife with fraudulent capacity. It's what you're telling me is stifling. I can't. So what you're telling me is that to become a police officer, you have to obviously go through a rigorous set of investigations, probably an FBI background check, at the very least. I would presume something along that lines. If you're an executive of a company, I'm really. This is amazing to me. I've asked this question now for 3 months. And I can't get an answer anywhere. And now I understand why. It's because there isn't an answer. This is a extremely fraudulent process. How do we change this?
What do you mean? You want to create a federal agency to check over the president?
I know what I'm suggesting is how do we create a procedure that establishes very clearly that a person is constitutionally authorized to run for the office of president. I mean, how do?
As I said, I think you have to create a new agency for that.
So you're telling me you think we have to create an agency just to verify the president is a natural-born citizen?
I mean, that seems to be what you're suggesting.
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm asking you a question of how do we make sure that our president is actually a natural-born citizen? How is this procedure? How are we going to qualify that the president of the United States or a candidate for the president of the United States is constitutionally authorized to be in that position? How do we go about this? Just based on the media telling us that he is?
We can go back and forth on this all day, sir. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's how it works. The burden of proof is on anybody who would like to challenge the eligibility of a person to run for president.
It's no wonder that we're in the condition that we're in. I appreciate your call back. You have a great day.